Did you know this gun was actually banned in Australia? To explain the reasonings why, I'm having a one-off video going through some history of Nerf in Australia, starting off with what this gun is. This is a Nerf micro shotgun. The idea is it is a micro version of a Nerf strong arm. So this is the Nerf micro shot strong arm, and then this is a real size strong arm. As you can see, the cute resemblance. This is the big one, this is the small one. It doesn't function like a strong arm. It functions more as a Nerf jolt with just extra plastic. Why was the gun banned? I'll explain in a minute. I have to explain first some Australian standards and safety acts. Also, diving into this deep down, I also figured out why Nerf Rival is banned and why we have the great trigger system. So, going in, this is your one-stop video to understand what literally everything to do with Australian sense. No place on the internet has the information that I have found in this video. So starting off why Nerf Rival is banned, I have to explain who makes these restrictions and stuff. ACCC is the Australian Consumers Consumption Commission that pretty much monitors trades and safety laws for all things in Australia. They are Australian bid and manage a lot of stuff. However, they have toy safety standards, and in toy safety standards, they have standards and safeties for projectile toys. In the article, it states every gun must be marketed or intended use by for children under 14 years of age. One series of Nerf primarily is targeted on 14 and above. Nerf Rival. That is why Nerf Rival will never be sold in Australian sales unless there is an amendment to the Act that says that Nerf guns can be sold at 14 and above. Therefore, Nerf Rival is not allowed to be sold in Australian store shelves. It is not illegal. You can have a Nerf Rival gun. It is just not allowed for a store shelf retailer to sell it. Again, Amazon.com.au actually can sell Nerf Rival into Australia due to this because they don't have any physical storefronts. There have been two reiterations of the Act. The first Act in 2010 came after an incident that happened in 2002 after a boy choked and subsequently died after playing with a foam projectile Nerf gun. To my understanding, it was not a Nerf brand blaster, however, it fell under the range of projectile toys. Therefore, these restrictions needed to come into place 2010. In 2010, the amendment of the Act pretty much said stuff along the lines that are still in place in the 2020 Act. However, between 2010 and 2020, the Australian market was introduced to the grey trigger system. The grey trigger itself doesn't do anything but cosmetically displays that the spring or the flywheels have been reduced to shoot at a lower muzzle velocity. Again, this was done as safety standards to stop these incidents happening again. To my understanding, there is a line in the article that says a gun may not exceed a certain kinetic energy output. Kinetic energy, of course, being different to velocity, as kinetic energy given 1/2 mv squared is dependent onto the mass. Therefore, every gun or projectile will have a different velocity at which it can be underneath the kinetic energy set by the retailer. Again, also in the 2020 amendment of the Act, we find the answer to our final question of why this gun was banned. However, the gun wasn't outright banned, and that's why I've been able to get my hands on it. This one here does not have the problem in which the gun was banned. The gun was actually recalled. Back in 2019, Nerf released the microshots gun to the Australian market. It was sold in primarily Woolworths. The problem was that all the guns in the first batch, the very first batch and the very first wave, had this marking here not in English. This was actually in Spanish or Portuguese. In 2020, in the very early parts of the 2020 season, an official note was sent out calling for a recall of all guns with this packaging, advising them to be returned and a full refund to be issued. After the recall, they made the corrections and released this batch with the correct warning label at the front. In the 2020 Safeties and Toy Restrictions published by the ACCC, there is a line that pretty much says, "For all projectile toy guns must have a warning that is clearly legible in English, goes along the lines of something do not aim at eyes or face." This is why this was invalid of the 2020 amendment of the safety standards issue, hence the recall. The guns themselves shot perfectly fine and safe. It was just this problem violated 2020 ACCC safety restrictions. That is literally the only reason why this gun was banned. So, I hope I've given you a very good introduction to Australian laws and safety standards. It is now the reason why, as of 2020, we do not have the grey trigger system. Nerf Rival will never be sold in Australia. And again, all guns must come with a clear, legible warning that says do not aim at eyes or face. I'll link all the references I use in the description box below so you can check my sources. However, this is the most definitive, accurate information about these grey triggers, Nerf Rival, and why these guns are recalled. No other YouTuber, no other article I have seen has correctly identified the reasons why these problems exist. I will link all my references and my sources in the description box below if you'd like to fact check me. But however, if you find that one of my sources are invalid or incorrect, message me or comment on one of my videos. I will be happy to change the video and publish a more accurate and dated version of this video. Apart from that, I hope you enjoyed the video and learned a little bit more about Australian safety standards. So thank you guys so much for watching, and I'll see you in the next one. Peace.